Francis Bacon, the philosopher, said that knowledge is power. And since human beings are always yearning to have power and more power and more power, they're also wanting to have knowledge and knowledge of the universe. And men want to know how women work, how this thing work. And also the masculine in women wants to know how they work, what's happening in them. We're all trying to figure out the feminine, but there are two ways to actually know. There is the way that is the scientific knowledge, that is researching about something, observing it, learning its patterns, and getting information so we can actually predict it maybe, and maybe even control it. That's not actually knowledge, but this is what we call knowledge in common language. This is academic knowledge, and but this is actually knowing about something. There is another way of knowing something, which is the way that Kabbalah and biblical Hebrew use the word knowing. Actually, I think it's in English like knowing in the biblical way means actually to have sex with something, but it means to unite, to connect with. Adam knew his woman Eve. Doesn't mean that he researched her, he did a thesis about her, but he made love with her. He became her. So the other way of knowing something is actually sitting with it, being with it. It's not researching a flower in order to know it and finding its name and all the botanics about it, but actually being with the flower, sitting with it until the barrier between me and the flower disappears, until I feel like a flower, I become a flower. I feel the flower from within. The subject and the object are not separate from each other, but we become one. This in Kabbalah calls Da'at. Da'at means, like, translation is knowledge. It's one of the Sephirot, it's the mystical Sephira, the most mystical, the most meaningful Sephira. And I think also the most hidden Sephira, because we usually bypass Da'at and we go to knowing about something. And in sexuality we also don't use that, but we use Yesod in the Sefirot, which is the genitals. But that is connected to the genitals, but it actually sits in the third eye, or inside the pineal gland. It's in the middle line between the right and left brains, in the middle, connecting the left and right brains to the body. So it's all this area that is in between, it's connected, it's called Da'at, and this is the knowledge and knowing, more than knowledge, actually knowing. And knowing something is making love with it, and making love with it doesn't mean to have a penis and vagina thing, because, you know, if you make love with a flower, you don't fuck the flower, you actually sit with the flower, you connect with it. And this is the love, this is the real love making. Love making is knowing. Real love making is knowing something, becoming intimate with that. And one of the greatest things that I learned from my late teacher, Zen master, Roshi Burning Glassman, who passed last November, is when we wanted to understand something, he would say, go get more intimate with that, get more intimate with that. Intimacy. Zen is intimacy, sitting with something until the barrier between you and it disappears and you become it, and you feel it from within. That's the only way of knowing something. Just wanted to share that with you, the Da'at as a path of knowing, which is a path of love.